MPs at the back, there's Georgie, there is Melissa out here. And I think that when people come to us because of these meetings, because of what we do, we understand the human body so much better, and we are able to give much better advice than we have ever been able to do so, because what we are learning from you and what this conference makes us do. So it's a collective effort. So I want you to make sure that I recognize my colleagues who helped me do this. So today, I was going to talk about how the human body processes fat and carbohydrates. How do we use, when we eat fat, what happens to us? When we eat carbs, what happens to us? And there were things that I did not understand as to what a thoracic duct was. And we're going to describe that to you. I used to talk about the concept of the health of your fat cells. And I didn't understand the health of the fat cells as well as I do now, because our fat cells are there to protect the rest of the body. The third thing that I did not understand, plenty of seats here, is something called ApoE. How many of you have heard about ApoE? Oh, excellent. How many of you know if you are ApoE3 or ApoE4? Okay, so the people who are ApoE4, you don't have to raise your hands. But if you want, you can. How many are okay? There's one Apo, there's few ApoE4s. So this talk is especially relevant for people who are ApoE4, but it's also important for people who are ApoE3 and ApoE2. So we're going to get into what ApoE means. I will be honest and tell you that even up until a few months ago, I did not understand clearly what ApoE was and what it does to us. All right, so I try to make things interesting, and I'm going to come back to this slide at the end. So I'm starting it out as a story. And I didn't know this either, and this has helped me treat patients better. So out here is a normal brain, and here is the brain of somebody with Alzheimer's disease. And in this brain, this is an MRI image that is showing sugar uptake, brain uptake by your brain, because on a standard American diet, your brain functions on glucose. And you can see that the sugar uptake is very good. In here, the sugar uptake is highly diminished. So there is something called declarative memory. What that means is that if I'm giving you a memory test, and I give you 10 different things to remember, 10 names, 10 objects, and if I wait for a few minutes and ask you for recall, how good is your memory? How good is it? And I was surprised to find that if you take a normal person, this is a normal person, and you give them a sugar bolus, you ask them to eat candy or whatever, and you raise their sugar to 150, what do you think happens to their declarative memory? Does it go up, go down? Down. It goes up. Because memory is an energy-intensive procedure. It takes you energy or fuel to form new memory, because it's actually a chemical reaction. Now, if you take an Alzheimer's disease brain, to improve their declarative memory, 150 is not enough. You need to increase the sugar to over 200. And since then, I have spoken to diabetic individuals, and they tell me that they function and remember better when their sugars are high. Okay, I don't know if any of you have had that experience. So, memory is an energy-intensive procedure, and it requires fuel. the Alzheimer's brain is insulin resistant. And when the brain is insulin resistant, it doesn't take in fuel. So this fundamental concept I did not understand, that the brain in Alzheimer's is not functioning well because it cannot take in glucose. And today's task is to find out what that is. So we have to go about in a roundabout way, and we got to start out with food. So here is a person who is eating a fat. This is just a fat globule. The fat globule is in the stomach, and it comes to the duodenum. And when it comes to the duodenum, the bile salts release, the gallbladder releases bile salts, and the duodenum then makes the pancreas empty pancreatic lipase that breaks down the fat. So a fat globule is taken, bile salts, bind to it so that the fat globule is soluble. So in other words, it emulsifies it. And it's only this emulsion. So in other words, this is an emulsion. Here are the bile salts that are emulsifying it. There is fatty acids in it. There is cholesterol in it. And this is our